my name is Amanda Berns, and I will be reading to you a paper I wrote in one of my classes because I honestly just think it's hilariously bad. It's entitled Secret Colonies in Space. This article, titled Secret Bases on the Moon and Mars, is written by Doug Yerchi in October of 2001. Mr. Yerchi has written several articles and a book about various conspiracies anywhere from interplanetary colonies to the real reason marijuana is illegal. The article in question was posted on paranormalnews.com, which, as the name of the site suggests, is all about paranormal news. Mr. Yerchi's article begins with a disclaimer stating that he does not have scientific proof, but everything that he talks about should be common sense. Then he continues on his merry way, outlining the various ways the Illuminati and Freemasons have managed to take hold of the government. These two, along with every other secret society in the world, have used the corporate media to brainwash we, the public. He cites two different books, the first being Don Wilson's Our Mysterious Spaceship Moon. The second book he talks about is Somebody Else is on the Moon by George Leonard. He also puts in the necessary anti-war jab, it's costing us billions, you know. Mr. Yerchi goes on to discuss the movie 2001: A Space Odyssey. He says that we should have reached this ideal, that we should have already had public transport to the moon. However, he goes on to say that while the movie was pure sci-fi in 1968, sci-fi is merely a projection of future events. Yerchi finally explains that the reason he's writing this article is the moon and Mars have human-inhabited colonies hiding on them. Just who it is that is living in these colonies? Why, none other than the most wealthy people our world has ever known, of course. This technology has apparently given us time to This technology was apparently given to us by the infamous Roswell aliens after they crashed. He mentions William Cooper's Behold a Pale Horse, brief mentioning of human body parts in the Area 51 crash site. Yerchi furthers his argument by stating the previously mentioned aliens are from the Zeta Reticuli system, that they have forged an alliance with both the U.S. and Russia. He talks about the deficit that we didn't have a few paragraphs before, and then he talks about skeptics saying that they have no imaginations and implores every one of his readers to open their eyes and believe, because he believes, and that's all he needs to do. We should say that this man is a reliable source. After all, he's been published several times. He seems to have some credibility. He's been in the media for some time as an author, artist, and inventor. Mr. Yerchi has lectured at Carnegie Mellon University and California State at Northridge. Yerchi also has a background as a cleanup artist for The Simpsons in 1991. This article suggests that he is well educated, but still does not meet the standard for credible. Here's why. He starts out with an undeclared claim: the government is brainwashing us and hiding information from us. He then states that this is why we, the world, have not returned to the moon. Yerchi believes that the government doesn't want us to know what goes on in space. The argument goes something like this. Premise 1. We haven't been to the moon in 30 years. Premise 2. The government is hiding information from us. Conclusion. We haven't gone to the moon because the government doesn't want us to. This is a valid conclusion because it follows the premise, but the argument is not sound. The logic is gravely lacking. It's a wild jump to consider that there is no evidence to support the sound premise of the conclusion. While many of the receivers of this so-called brainwashing would say that the governments of the world only look out for number one, this man truly believes it to be so, stating that they are in the business of lies and deception. It seems that Mr. Yerchi is comparing the government bodies of the world to Satan itself. This certainly doesn't help his credibility, as he starts his article acknowledging his distinct deficiency of evidence to support his claims. The whole article turns into a series of appeals to the masses and dissonance reduction rather than multiple outs. Obviously, any claim should be supported with evidence. If not, it is not subject to the rule of falsifiability, which states that for something to fall under the realm of science, it needs to hypothetically be refutable. His sources for this article are two books. Our Mysterious Spaceship Moon was published only once in 1968. It details a theory that the moon was hollowed out by aliens and for unknown reasons placed in orbit. The other, Somebody Else is on the Moon, is about the same idea. The analysis